September 18, 2012. That was the day when everything I thought I knew about love changed. I was in a surgery room when they put in my arms my firstborn, Kate. I looked her in the eyes and I knew in that moment that I would do anything for that girl. I would give my life for her. And that love just kept growing and growing with time. Well, I knew I wanted more children, but I was struggling to know how could I possibly love someone how I loved her. Well, 2 years later, again in a surgery room, they put in my arms my son Joseph. I looked him in the eye and again I knew I would give my life for him. I would do anything for that boy. Then I understood that when we have more children, our love doesn't divide, it multiplies. And in 2017, I held my youngest son in my arms, Hyrum. And that day I learned the biggest lesson of all. If I had 20 children, I would love each one of them with all my heart, with the same love. In Brazil, we have a saying, ser mãe é padecer no paraíso, which in English roughly translates to be a mother is to suffer in paradise. I understood the meaning of this saying when my youngest son was early diagnosed with autism. He was nonverbal until he was 5 years old. And everything I had learned by raising my first two children, I had to relearn by raising an autistic child. My co-host Dantzel also learned the meaning of that saying when she discovered that her youngest child would be born with cystic fibrosis, the same disease that her previous child had been diagnosed with at birth. Jamie might not have heard the saying, ser mãe é padecer no paraíso, but she also learned the meaning of it, not by being a mother of a child with a rare disease, but by being the child with the rare disease. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. I am Yolanda Moreira, and I am here once again with my besties, Dantzel and Jamie. Woo! So today we're gonna have this honest talk about raising children with rare diseases like cystic fibrosis, autism, neurological disorder in my case, and just as hard as being a mother of kids with disability, Jamie, she is the one with the disability.
She was the kid with the
kid with a disability,
not
and now she has to raise her children with her limitations, which I think is as hard as that. So let's dive into it. We have a lot of emotional things going on here because when it comes to our children, oh my goodness, we get emotional. So let's start. My first question is for Dantzel. I was thinking about that. How was your pregnancies? Are they normal pregnancies?
They were totally normal. Totally normal. I have 4 kids. People, FYI, I know. And only my 2 younger ones have cystic fibrosis, which is a mutation that both parents need to carry. And by chance, they match together, and then that child brings up the disease, right? And the pregnancies were fine. My third one, I didn't know after a week he was born, and I found out that he had. And with my fourth, finally, my little girl, my dream come true. I found out that she had the disease before because I did that very scary test, the amniocentesis, this gigantic needle that goes in your belly button to get the amniotic fluid, to test that, the DNA, to figure out if your fetus, 20 weeks. Mm-hmm. It should be far enough to not be so dangerous, to deform the babe or hurt the babe, but not too far away, not too far along, I mean.
Is it better to find out when you're pregnant or
when they're born?
Or when they're
that's a personal That's personal. For me, before, because I'm a planner, I'm a preparer, that I needed to know if that baby was going to have the same disease as the baby that I was holding in my arms. They are only like 18 months difference.
And once you found out Angelina had the disease, did you have to take any special meds?
No, just watching. Every month, I needed to do some ultrasound to check her development inside, which was showing several physical issues. And I was prepared to have a baby that would have some, like, a lot of the cases with CF, they come with the organs out. They develop that way, some weird development issues, But guys, she was perfect. She was my most perfect newborn baby.
It was a little miracle.
She was my little miracle. And it was shown inside of my belly that she wasn't developing right. But through faith, through a lot of prayer, something in the middle of the way, it changed. And she was suddenly was all good, all perfect. The doctors didn't believe it. When she born, there was a team of 4 extra NICU doctors just for her because they were going to hurry up and to do surgeries with her. And she didn't need it. She was just a perfect baby. And that was my miracle. But she still carried the disease, though. Then there is that too.
Did you feel it was easier with her because you had them? How old was he when she was born?
18 months.
Oh.
It was. Guys, it was so much easier.
You had 2 babies with CF because
that was insane. Look at me. That's why I'm all ragged now. It has been 10 years in that struggle. Now, guys, after 10 years, that things are starting to get a little bit better. But it was so much easier. First, I already knew everything about the disease because I dived into it. I study a lot. I read everything I can. I'm an expert on the disease and the mutations and all the things more than the doctors. That's where, like, usually when you have a kid with a rare disease, you are better than and you are more of an expert in everything than any other person. And especially with 2 kids, which is very interesting because I have 2 children with that. And the disease is changing in each other totally different. Like it's developing in each other differently because they have unique little bodies, which is very interesting. But anyways, but was so much easier because the thing about the doctors, they study about it, they expert, they treat people about it, but they don't live with those diseases 24/7. And there's that actually, in my opinion, that's a huge gap, in the knowledge and expertise about that illness. Then with Damick was very much desperate and dangerous and scary, I would say. Like, you need to come, you need to hurry up, we need to do all those DNA testings, you need to take care of this and do those meds and everything. It was so much information, so new. I was so scared and so worried, but with Angelina, I already knew everything. Then I wasn't as freaking out. I was more calm. I already knew what to do. And I already knew that it wasn't that matter of life and death. They stress us so much. This is such a matter of life and death. Like, they always give you the worst outcome. Like, your kid's not going to talk anymore. Your kid's not going to survive. Your kid's going to be behind forever. And you realize that with a lot of work and effort, it's not going to be as bad as you expected. And you don't need to be as desperate. That's why having the second one of the disease was gigantically easier for me. And because I already knew that wasn't as bad as the doctors were saying, like, it was more doable, even though it takes a chunk of your heart, will pay a price no matter what.
How old was Damick when you found out? Was it like newborn?
He was a week old. Through the blood test that they do on your little feet,
That's how they found out.
That's how they found out. And Utah, by law, all the children needs to do that. Then don't worry, if your children has it, you guys will know.
Brazil too, right? That's
because they don't check for that specific mutation.
Oh,
exactly. But they check for others. Other states, some states they do that. Some states you need to request. You need to check in your state. I just know for sure in Utah that they do. They have been doing this for the last 15 years.
When you were when you were pregnant, with Angelina, you were doing the test to know if she was. Did you, deep inside, you hoped that she wouldn't have it?
100%.
100%.
We have hope. I didn't want to have two.
Yeah.
And actually, statistically talking, was very unlikely for her to have. But as with my luck, of course she would have.
Yeah.
And she does, but things worked better than could have been. It could have been worse, basically. That's what I'm saying,
I was talking to someone, it was someone in the temple. He said that he's, I think one of his siblings, but like he's very old. So at the time, he was born with cystic fibrosis. At the time, the life expectancy was 6 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, so imagine having a child that will live at 6, but he said he's probably lived a little longer, but I don't think he reached 20.
Yeah.
And now what is the life expectancy?
50.
50.
Really?
That's great.
When they born 10 years ago, 35.
Oh.
Just in the last 10 years, with our demands and development, we having got leaps and leaps of better life choices and expectancy. I'm witnessing miracles in my lifetime towards that.
That's amazing.
But doesn't mean it's not easy.
I knew somebody growing up when I was a kid that when I was living in Boston, and 2 of their kids had it, and they both passed before the age of 10.
Oh.
It was.
And I can't imagine having 2 in your family that pass away.
I think that the worst part of my disease, in my opinion, guys, it is that. Mm-hmm. It is when we have the baby, the doctor sit down with you, and one of the first things he tells you is that you need to prepare yourself. You see your child die.
Oh, that's solid.
Who has a child?
Nobody
Yeah,
nobody can prepare for that.
Yeah.
That's and I went crazy to therapy because I kept telling my therapist, like, I need to be prepared for that. I need to prepare for that. I need to be strong. I need to be ready to see my child die. And she just like, this is unnatural. It's impossible for you to prepare for your child to die. Even though for there are other diseases, they are harsher and they truly are harder on the child, and they will have truly life expectancies. Or when you have a baby that doesn't have enough organs and the doctor say you only have 3 hours, still there's still some hope in there. You cannot let it go. It's, as my therapist said, it's not natural. Then it's not gonna come easy or normal at all. It's something that you're gonna fight for the rest of your life. Nobody gets pregnant, and wants that baby, are happy to be pregnant, thinking, yes, I am gonna have a baby, just for them to die in a couple of years.
I fell in love with my babies when I saw the pregnancy test positive. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I already love them. Can you tell us a little bit about the routine, the daily routine? Because I know it's a rough routine that you have with them.
Yes, and I want to give a hurrah to all the mothers and caregivers of kids with rare disease. Our lives revolve around them. There is so much work behind the curtains that nobody knows. And even me sharing here a little bit, it's not even close of the little things they're constantly doing. But with my kids, which they are healthy, they still carry the illness, but there's a lot of preparation for them to not develop more diseases or complications. Is they have a breathing treatment that they do every morning and night. They wear vests that shake their lungs to help them clean their lungs for 30 minutes. They do some aerosol treatments and meds, every day because they're healthy. This is not if they were sick. If they were sick, it would be a lot more than that. But this just to maintain the baseline of healthness. They take some meds, aerosol meds. They take some albuterol, that's the meds for asthma. And also they take an average of 8 meds for their digestive system. Mm-hmm. To help.
That's what I have at my house, right?
That's the one pills that I have in my house. Every time they eat, they need those enzymes to help them digest. And they have several other supplements and vitamins to help out with that. Then they take an average with every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, an average of 10 different meds, which is going to be around 13 to 15 different pills.
Good Lord.
And they are And they are awesome. They just they take it. They don't feel anything, And they need a diet that's high on protein and fat, and constantly being eating something. They need a lot of salt. They need a lot of electrolytes, and we need to constantly be watching their cough, the way that they act. We need to constantly watch their poop. That we see if the meds are doing well, they're calibrating, and all the other problems that they might have, because sometimes some kids have complications and other organs, right? Usually CF affects the main two organs are lungs, the digestive system, and the pancreas. But sometimes you have cirrhosis, it's in your liver. Sometimes you have diabetes, that's when the insulin in your pancreas stop working. Like, there is other meds that every once in a while you need to be rotating to taking care of all the side complications of them carrying the disease and all the meds they're taking care, because they need meds to survive, but those meds are not natural. They take a toll on the body and other organs. And then we need to be constantly watching for that. Plus all the doctors, all the pediatricians, and all the 8 specialists that we travel to primary children in South Lake to go, because they're healthy every 3 months. If they are not, every month. In the first year of life was every month. And that took a huge toll on us financially.
We are going to talk about that, because I know. And one thing that I love that you do, because I think I would do that if they were mine. You try for them to have a normal life.
Yes.
So she knows the houses that her children go to play to, and she leaves the medicines that they have to have that. For example, I have in my house. Jane has in her house.
My tribe.
Yeah, so because they come play here, for example, summertime, right? They come play here, and then I like to feed them. And then they have the medicine here already, so they can eat like the others. So she tries everything to help them to not to be different. But children know this stuff. Did they ever show any awareness of being different than the other?
They have asked me how long they have.
How long they're gonna have it? Oh,
guys, that's one of the times in my life that broke my heart.
Do they know that they are gonna have a shorter life than the normal people? Did you have the heart to talk to them about it?
No. But I didn't give them a specific timeline, but they know that's a shorter timeline than normal people.
Yeah.
And they hate it because they constantly say, I hate CF, I hate having this, because of all the work.
Yeah.
For example, we are here, our kids want to play together, and my kids need to stop to do treatments.
Yeah.
And it's a...
Yeah, they have to stop and go home to do the treatment.
And they come back. And you see how interesting is that point of view. And for a child, tell me which child wants to do that? Which toddler? How are we going to sit down with a toddler for 30 minutes to hold on there?
How did you do it when you were little?
I would cry a lot, guys. I cried a lot. But we would just sit down and hold on. Like,
how long is the treatment?
30 minutes.
That's a long
Not
time.
bad, but it's a long time.
It's a long time.
For a little one that doesn't understand, even now that they are 10 and 8, they still complain so much.
I remember we were not very close, but we talked during COVID. It freaked you out because if they got COVID, so I remember you were way careful on COVID. So tell me about COVID. How did that hit you?
That's very nice of you to remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
COVID was a conundrum, right? COVID would kill our kids or would make no difference. And by the miracle of God, the universe, whatever, it actually, I feel like most of the treatments that we are doing in our kids was the treatments for COVID. That this was pretty much universal in the country. COVID didn't affect most of the people with CF.
Wow,
we were, the scientists, the doctors, the community of CF were very much impressed, because the doctors were like, if your kids get COVID, they will be close to die.
Yeah.
Then we were freaking out. That's what I'm saying again, as usual. We were freaking out like, okay, if my kids get COVID, they're going to die for sure. Because their lungs already were so weak.
Yeah.
But now there are researches and studies being done to figure it out why COVID did not affect them at all. Like, they had COVID, but asymptomatic.
Oh.
not just my kids, but most of the CF people, which was very interesting. They're studying to figure out why was that. Because, like, was it because they already doing the treatments, the COVID treatments that they could do in the hospital, I was already doing at home. Or it's because the CF has already taken their lungs. There's no space for the COVID virus. Like it's still in development, but it's very interesting that it actually didn't affect them as serious as we expected at all. And that was a gigantic miracle for us.
And how all of this affect your mental health?
I am crazy, guys.
We know this.
Yes. Yes. That's why this affects me. The good thing is, it makes me very funny.
It's good that you can joke about it.
Yes. But I do a lot of therapy. And I, as other mothers with those issue with kids with rare disease, we relate. We are constantly scared and exhausted in a level that people do not understand. Mm-hmm. I'm an amazing faker, right? I look so good at doing the hardest thing and hiding things that everyone thinks that, oh my gosh, like she's doing great, she's doing well, she has no issues. Because that's my superpower.
Yeah.
But I'm actually constantly
Poker face.
Poker face. I'm actually constantly struggling and dying inside. And then it's a very hard subject to talk about because there's a lot of people that don't believe. Mm-hmm. I just found out there's some people very close in my family that they don't believe. They think that the disease is not that serious, that's not that hard, that's not that expensive.
They don't believe in cystic fibrosis.
They believe in the disease, but they don't believe in the seriousness.
Serious as the
Yes, all the things that I'm talking about, they don't believe that we need to put that word. A lot of people think that I am very dramatic about it. Those things cut deep in my heart, but it's expected, to say the truth, because nobody will understand until they live it.
Yeah. Well, if you don't do it, you're just cutting their lifespan.
Exactly. And people don't get that. And there are parents actually that do that.
Yeah.
They don't believe. When we talk about autistic, there's a lot of denial in the world right now about kids being autistic. And there is so much support there. Like in the community, in the school system, and doctors, and grants, and everything for kids with autism that helps them do jumps and leaps in their development. But there's a lot of parents that they say they don't need it. They're just a little bit weird. They're just a little bit different.
Because to admit your child has autism is admitting that he's different. Do you feel angry, frustrated about that?
I feel angry. I feel the anger is slowly getting less. Mm-hmm. But I feel very angry. I feel very angry towards God, because I don't understand. And He gave me a lesson times two, and oh crap, I have done some seriously crap in the past lives, that I need double of the learning, like
you're paying.
Yeah, I'm paying. And
you're paying for bullying all those girls in school.
Exactly, but double? Come on, one would be enough.
Maybe you're so hard-headed, he knew that it'd have to take two
exactly.
to get through.
My husband feels like it's a blessing. My husband is the totally opposite. I have a lot of people call me out constantly, especially good friends and leaders telling me that I need to stop thinking of this as a punishment. I'm working really hard, but not even close to get there, guys. But my husband feels like he's chosen. That God blessed him with this difficulty, blessed us because He believed in us.
Yeah. And I've heard that the people that have disability children, it's because they are special.
They're special, exactly.
They can handle, like my sister deals, her son's very autistic, and she's a saint. There's no way I could deal with it.
But look at me. Am I a saint, guys?
You know what?
You are, because you're dealing with it. I don't know if I could deal with it.
If it was me, look at this. That's why the Lord gave Danica and Angelina to you, not to me. You know how I am overprotective. Imagine if they were my children. They wouldn't see the sun of the light of the sun.
That's true. They would be a bubble boy.
Exactly. Yeah. I am extremely overprotective with my children, all of them. And if I had CFers, they wouldn't leave the house.
And that's a huge problem
exactly.
for their development.
So I would make their life miserable. To wrap up Dantzel's section, it costs you a lot. So I don't know if you want to say everything that happened, but financially it took a lot from you guys having these kids, and it still costs. So tell us about the financial aspect of having CF.
Okay, guys, it's none of your business.
End of segment.
um, First of all, just for you guys to have an idea, when we found out about that, we had no health insurance. Then you can imagine. We lost everything to be able to cover the start of the journey. And the people say, okay, but it doesn't have a timeline, right? It's not like our expenses, like it's not a treatment that has a time frame, right? That's the hardest part, because people think, okay, you have those medical bills, but you want to finish paying them. No, they keep accruing monthly, and they are thousands and thousands, because the pharmaceutical world, they are here to take your organs from you, your skin alive. It's another issue that I have to talk about politically. Anyways, but
Another statement.
another thing, but their healthcare, it's extremely expensive, and like thousands and thousands and thousands. I'm not gonna go through numbers necessarily, because who cares, right? But there are thousands and thousands. And some people might believe in me, some people might not, but we lost everything and we're still trying to recover. It's hard to recover when the monthly bills keep coming. Of course, we don't pay everything, because who has hundreds of thousands of money every month to pay for meds? Come on, nobody. But everything we do is very expensive. Doctor's trips and health insurance and everything, and copay and deductibles. You guys know the headache of all. Anyways, and I feel like sometimes me and my husband, we feel like we work to pay meds. And I know there's a lot of Americans that we relate to that. We don't work to pay for food. We work to pay for meds.
Jamie has a little different situation than us. She has two very severe disabilities, right? One, it's a learning disability. So you were in life skills your whole life, right? So
Yeah.
if you don't know what that is, in school there is this special class called life skills where the disabled kids go, and they stay there from kindergarten to high school.
High school.
And sometimes in high school, they are still learning things from fifth grade, right? And so she has this learning disability, and the epilepsy is just that. Epilepsy is a part of something bigger. I don't know.
No, epilepsy. So it's where I had grand mal seizures, and that's what caused the brain damage. Is because several of my grand mal seizures, I was in it for so long that it caused the brain damage.
Yeah.
So they think that I fell when I was 5 and got a head concussion, and so they think that that's what caused the epilepsy. So yeah.
So you didn't have epilepsy before 5 years old. Oh. So we talked. You said some things about in the last episode about being a child with it. Yeah. So tell us more. How was it to be a child, the only one in the family, right? How many siblings?
So there's 5 of us. I had 2 sisters and 2 brothers, and it was really hard because I'm a military brat. We moved around a lot. So I think if I had stayed in one school from kindergarten to high school, it would have been a lot better for me personally, because we would move every 3 years. And every 3 years, I would get to a new school and they're like, oh, some states are geared towards special needs more than other schools. Some like Boston was for me, I learned the most living there. They had a great program for special needs. But then I moved to St. Louis, and they were more geared towards gifted program. So, they didn't know. So different states have different things. And so like when I was in 2nd grade, we moved to Virginia, and they really didn't even have a program. They told my parents that I wasn't even allowed to go to school because I didn't hit the bedtime. Yeah. And so my mom, kind of like what we were talking about, you defend your child. She fought. She's like, no, my kid is going to school. She's going to learn. And so after 6 weeks, I was able to start going to school. And then fast forward even with high school. we moved to Georgia, and Georgia had a law where you had to pass a test to graduate high school.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have a special needs test. It was the same test for the valedictorian to the special needs. And I couldn't pass it. I took it 4 times. I couldn't pass it. And so in the state of Georgia, I was not allowed to get a high school diploma.
Oh.
And my mom said, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, you can't go without life without a diploma.
Mm-hmm.
And she fought and she fought. And finally, she ended up calling the state of Missouri, where I had done 3 years of my high school. And so my high school diploma is from Missouri.
Oh, so you had to take their test.
No, Missouri didn't have a test.
Oh.
So they're like, she has the credits. She's good.
Gotcha.
She got it. So most of my school year, I didn't have grades. It was, if I did the work, I passed. If I didn't do the work,
Gotcha.
I didn't pass. So because of the special needs.
Well, of course, your mom. That
Yes.
makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Right?
You see, mothers who are fighters, we are changing the world, guys.
Really are.
We are.
I give my mom a lot of credit.
Through generations of time, we are changing it all.
Yeah, I would not be where I am today without my mother.
Yeah, I tell my 2 kids all the time. They are very privileged. I was like, if you didn't have a father, if you didn't have a son, if you didn't have a mother, none of this would be happening.
Yeah.
Mom is mom.
Yeah.
You know? That's
Yeah.
great. And so you were all in life skills. So the other kids around were special as well.
Yeah.
So do you feel like...
Well, a lot of my disability is, there's different severe and
Yeah.
so with me, I can learn something, but it takes me 3 times longer than a normal person. So I can learn it, but it's harder. And so sometimes I would get frustrated because I would be in these classes with these special children who were really needing that, and I felt like I didn't need to be that. I didn't fit into the normal classes, but I didn't fit into the special needs classes. Like I wanted kind of the in between, because I wanted to learn. It just wasn't clicking in my brain to learn.
That's what I felt when I was fighting to get my son in school. They have the severe, they have the normal, they don't have the in between.
Yeah.
And he wanted to put him in the severe. It's like, no, he is not that.
He's not that.
So I got him in the normal class, but with a special person getting him out of the lesson to help him catch up because he's not normal.
Right.
He's not severe. And that's our government, our school district is not preparing something for the between.
They don't care so much. It's like the numbers. They want to make sure they get their numbers. They don't care about the individual. And maybe I should have been homeschooled. I love it. And moving every 3 years, I was able to meet new people. And so that kind of helped my social. I always felt like I didn't have many friends because, one, my poofy hair as a teenager, but because I was different. I wasn't as smart as all the kids around me. But the one thing that I have to give myself credit for is and I think my husband helps me with this, is I take my strengths and I focus on that, kind of what you were saying. And so a lot of people don't know I deal with a learning disability because
that's true.
They don't see what I deal with. They only see what I'm compensating on my strengths, And so
I remember when I met you, when you started talking, and then you talked about the disability. I was like, no, you don't. Nobody would say that, you know, because
until you read my text. They have to decipher my text. My kids tease me all the time.
We need something, from up there for us to be able to translate.
And what about the epilepsy? How often did you have the episodes?
As a kid, I was always having grand mal seizures. My mom said I had to be life-flighted, and there was one time my heart stopped for several minutes. Like, it was bad, but I think my last grand mal was 6th grade, so it's been a while. I have not taken medication since I was 18. I know my limits. I know I can't get hot. I know I have to eat.
All the triggers?
Yep, I can't look at flashy lights. And so I just try to keep away from those. And my kids, they know my limits. Like, they know when mom says, like I'm hot. They're getting fans, you know. If flashing lights come on the TV, my kids are covering my eyes for me. You know, like I don't even have to say anything because they know that. Now being pregnant was really hard. I had a lot of spells and like there was
Really interesting.
yeah, all the hormones and that. But I didn't have any seizures. Like I haven't had like a seizure since 6th grade.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And let's say hurrah to all demands, right? Technology.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, and there is the other side of the learning disability. It's now raising children.
Mm-hmm.
You are the one with a disability. Do you feel limited? As a
Oh,
mother?
definitely. So I have 8 kids. I've birthed 5, but
8 guys.
so I had 2 from my first marriage, and then and my husband had 3, and we've had 3 together. And that's one thing with the disability. Like I never thought I would be married. I was told I would never be married. I was told I would never have kids. And now I can say I've been married twice, and I have 8 kids.
See,
so I prove people wrong. You know, they said I would never drive. I would never. You know, and I'm the type of person, you tell me not to do something,
Then you're gonna,
I'm gonna do it, you know?
That's amazing.
So, but it's been very hard to, you know, I feel like I'm not the best mother because I can't give them those talks, you know, that's, I don't know how to explain it, but I can't, that smart talk that you can
You
give your
feel like you
kids.
can't help when they need you.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because you think you're limited.
I literally have an education of a 3rd grader. If you put it out on paper, I have a 3rd grade school level. But my intellect is a lot higher, you know, and so I try to stay close to the Lord and get those inspirations to help guide me to help them, you know.
As a witness, she's an amazing mother. She feels like she can give them those, you know, smart talks, but she doesn't need. If you talk from the heart, you don't need smart talks.
I was opening my mouth to say that.
Connection!
I was saying that because that's what Jamie has. She has the deepness, you know. She speaks from the heart. She speaks, and that makes the whole difference. And speaking about depression, how is your mental health with all of this? You know, because it's 8 kids. Of the 8 kids, how many? 5 are yours, and 3 are stepchildren, right? So Jamie got a divorce just 5 years in the marriage, right? And she found herself lost, right? I can't even imagine. Lost. How old were you? We're very young, right?
So yeah, I was 24.
When you 24 with
20, yeah, 24.
At 24, I was still single.
I think I was 25. We're down to 26.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really young. You're really young, going through a divorce with two boys. Oh, Jamie can't birth girls, okay?
Apparently not.
She has 5 boys.
Thankfully, I have 2 beautiful stepdaughters.
Yeah, isn't that a blessing? Right?
It is, and they call me mom. Like my oldest just got married this weekend, and she's
the sweetest.
She is the sweetest.
Huge.
And she gets mad if I say even stepmom.
Yes, she does.
She's like, you are my mother, and you know, and no downing her mother. Her mother is fantastic.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and she loves her mother.
Jamie does such a good job in being a mom of her non-biological children. Because I remember after a long time we were friends that I found out that Devin wasn't your biological child because she just talks. I met him. She talks about him all the time, but she never gave me any hint that he was not biological. I always thought he was your biological child because so you wouldn't say which one is hers and which one is not.
That's so true.
The way she talks about them, the way she treats them. You wouldn't say. I am always asking, is he your real? I'm the one always asking because she doesn't give any hint on she's talking because that's
my kids always asking me, who's your favorite? And I'm like, I don't have favorites because I honestly, like, the moment me and John started dating, it was like they were my kids. Like, they've always had that connection with, if I've had a connection with them, and I don't have favorites. Now, when they are in trouble, I would joke and say, you're not my favorite anymore. And then they say, well, at least I was your favorite.
I love that.
That's nice.
Yeah, like I had never dealt with depression until we moved to Utah. Part of it was the move. Part of it is I had to leave 3 of my kids in Georgia. You know, like that sucks about getting older is you're having to leave your kids. Your kids are leaving. Like I just loved being a big family, and now I'm dwindling down to only 3 kids at home. Yeah. And it's not that I don't love my 3 at home. I do. It's just it's quiet. It's it's
not the same.
Yeah. I have to think about what can I do, and then that learning disability kicks in. Like, well, you can't do that because you're not smart enough. You just
let's stop those ugly voices.
Exactly. Like when I had all the kids at home, I couldn't focus about me. I had to focus on the kids. Yeah. And that helped me overcome like what I didn't have to worry about what I couldn't do or not do because I was so focused on them. But now that they're adults and they're out of the house and I have time to myself, those feelings as a child are coming back to like, you can't read this book, you won't understand it. Like just all that.
Yeah, that's
depression.
Yeah. I have never thought about the part of leaving the 3 children behind, but that would do it. Mm-hmm. That's enough for me to melt, fall down, break down, and never recover.
Yeah. But we have such a loving Heavenly Father that He knows what we need. Yeah. And thankfully He opened that door for me to. My son got a job at Delta. I can fly free now. Yeah. And I can go whenever I want.
He comes, you go.
He does. Yeah.
Really he compensates.
Yeah.
He compensates.
He does. He's like, okay, I need you here in Utah. I know you don't want to be here, but I need you. So I'm going to. Like, I'm warming up to Utah. Don't worry.
We love Utah.
I'm so excited. Nothing in Utah. It's just when you've lived somewhere for 27 years, you get attached. Yeah.
I never lived anywhere for that long. Yeah. We've been living in this house for 6 years. That's the longest I have ever lived in a house.
Really?
I hate moving, guys. I stay as long as I want. As I can in each place. Mm-hmm.
Well, switching so we can finalize.
Tell us about your story.
Yes, tell us yours.
Yeah, so Hyrum was, and here's the thing, Mama knows. Right? Mm-hmm. He was my last one, so I knew the difference. And every time I was taking him to the pediatrician, I was like, I think he's autistic. And the pediatrician would say, no, he's not. Because he looked you in the eye. So I think he was thinking of the stereotypical autism.
Yeah, they don't look
like, oh, he smiles at me, he looks me in the eye, he's not autistic. But I knew he was different. Because I had that 2 other children. So, and I kept it, and then he was nonverbal. He wouldn't say a thing, right? And 3 years old passed, the pediatrician, no, he's not. 4 years old, no, he's not. He's just a little late bloomer. When he turned 5, he was like, okay, let's get him diagnosed, And that's when he was officially diagnosed with severe autism. He was nonverbal. He didn't talk. But I knew that he knew how to talk. He chose not to. Mm-hmm. Because one day, it switched. Now he talks and he doesn't stop.
Yeah, he loves to talk
so much.
And he talks really well. Yes. It's not like he's behind it, he's talking.
He never had the phase of learning because he was quiet his whole, time. And when he started. Because when we were talking, he was always observing. I was like, this boy knows how to talk. He's just holding
Parents, listen to those signs. Seriously, listen to those signs.
And don't ignore your guts. A mother knows, okay? And we tried to get him to school, but he wouldn't go.
Yeah, that was the struggle.
We tried to force him, but he wouldn't. When we bribed him and he wouldn't take the bribe because that boy loves money.
And anything from the dollar store he loves.
Yeah, so when we started bribing and he wouldn't take the bribe, I knew that was not he being a bad behavior. So he started ABA. It was also hard. He didn't want it. But there was a time he started with some psychotic episodes. Mm-hmm. He was seeing things. He was he wouldn't go outside. He said the trees were smiling at him, was watching him. He said there was someone watching him. And he started having these psychotic episodes. I had just to hold him in my arms. And ABA was trying to use, and my husband trying to use the exposition to overcome your fears. You have to face it. They were trying to force him and say, you're not going to get this until you go to the bathroom alone. And I freaked out. Don't do that. I was like, I knew in my heart something was wrong besides the autism. Right. So I took him to the psychiatrist. He's a psychiatrist. He's an expert in autism, and he diagnosed him with anxiety, severe anxiety, and that was the best thing that happened. I know it looks like a bad thing, but it wasn't, because once he got on the meds, everything changed.
That is awesome.
He's like a totally different child.
Different child. He's still autistic. His brain works differently. He is weird. I'm proud to say that my kid is weird, and I love his weirdness. But he goes to school. He just finished his first year. He's 9 years old. He just finished his first year in school. It's like it's hard to explain. But I have to treat him differently, and it's sad because my other children know this, and my middle son doesn't understand.
Yep.
That is hard.
Yes.
And they consider the extra work favoritism. And it's not. We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
We need to care more for those, special needs children.
My siblings used to think that my parents loved me more. And it was not anything to do with that. It was, I needed those to go to the doctor more. I need,
Yep.
I mean, and your older two probably feel the same
The
way.
same way.
Like they're getting shadowed because of those special needs. But
yeah, my middle son struggles. He does tell me all the time that I love Hyrum more, and I try to sit down with him. I explain to him. I was like, it's not, But then he told his brother, "Your mama just treats you like that because you're autistic." One day, Hyrum came to me and he said, "Mommy, do you think Jesus loves me, even being autistic?" Yeah, and that broke my heart. He is very aware that he's different. And one thing I learned, and actually that's going to be our last questions, is what motherhood has taught you is that pick up your fights. Because we are not just mothers, we are human beings.
Yes.
I am a person, and it took me years. I have been a mother for 13 years. It took me years to learn this. Pick up your fights. There are some days that you will get into my house and the kids will be messed the whole house, okay? And I'm here chilling because I picked up my fight. I don't want to stress about that, So
Because you're already stressing about something else.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's hard. So if you try to fight everything, your mental health is gonna kill you. You're gonna die.
I wish I knew that 15 years ago.
I know it took me a long time because I was trying to control everything.
Yep.
And that nearly. How about you, Jamie? Advice for
say-
mothers that are feeling overwhelmed right now.
Yeah, for me, putting God first in my life, that's the only way that I can make it in this life. When I try to do it on my own,
I love that.
I fail. So if I put God first, it works. Everything works. My marriage works. My kids works. Just everything works. It just follows. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Do I have trials? Absolutely. But He makes it so much easier for me to deal with that.
And that's you want to say something?
Yeah, I would say another tip: run away, change your name, change your life.
Don't listen to her.
Go somewhere very far away, change everything.
I think date nights are very important, and raising kids and having kids to reconnect with your spouse, because sometimes we focus as mothers so much on our kids that we forget that our husbands need us as much as we need them.
Don't start that. My husband complains all the time.
I'm not saying me and my husband are great on going
If you are
out.
a single mother, which a lot of our listeners will be.
Yeah.
Okay then. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and we are really excited to keep doing this. And we will see you in our next episode.
Bye, guys. See ya.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Ciao.